Two, one. All right, we're back with part two here with the OUT-BUR podcast. Um, we're going to give a quick introduction and then we're going to get right into it. Obviously, my name is Palm, and we're here with my co host, Willie Diesel, and our buddy Wezo, that is also becoming a host on the show. He works a lot, has a lot of stuff to do, so sometimes he'll be in and out.
Yeah, I'm just a little add-on backstage here, just chilling.
All right, Will, let's give your introductions.
Yeah, so Wessel's going to be in on the pod here and there when he can be, and we appreciate having him on the pod. We're going to jump into this part two of the episode, but before we do that, I want to give a shout out to Kentucky Lawn Rescue once again. I heard you guys played big time in the local golf scramble there at the club, so good on you for performing well at that, and good on you for keeping the yards looking good here in Central Kentucky. And we appreciate all you do for the pod, all the money you give us, and your sponsorship means a lot. So thank you guys. Anyway, back to the OUT-BUR pod. We're going to do a deep dive into some of the latest issues. So we're going to be going into what we call here on the pod daily news.
That's right. We're going to switch it over to the Daily World News here.
This just in, actually, breaking. As we were talking about the Aaron Rodgers injury earlier. It actually came out. This is horrible. That he has suffered a ruptured Achilles and will miss the entirety of the 2023 season, per head coach Robert Saleh. Just an unimaginable blow to the Jets' Super Bowl hopes this season.
Definitely.
The Jets will now turn to Zach Wilson or sign a different quarterback.
That's so wild. There. In other news, the police say an escaped murderer on the run for a week and a half in the southeastern Pennsylvania has apparently slipped out of the search area. So be on the lookout if you live in Pennsylvania
Or surrounding areas.
or surrounding areas, because he slipped out of their search area.
Slipped.
He slipped.
Oh. You got this fella's name?
This fella's name. Let's see here. Well, they have a picture of him. He's in a stolen dairy van. Danilo Souza. Danilo Cavalcanti.
I'll tell you this much. USA is looking to kick Team Europe's ass in the Ryder Cup here in just a couple more weeks.
All right. I mean, the Ryder Cup, it's always a spectacle. But this year it's going to be super special because I really feel like this is golf's best field that they've probably put out in the last 50 years in terms of competitiveness, um, how guys really, all of these guys know each other and play against each other every week, and all of them have personalities that people really are starting to enjoy. I've not seen as many people as I have in the last couple weeks that say, instead of just liking Tiger Woods, you'll hear some guy saying, I'm a Ben On fan or I'm a Siwoo Kim fan. Like, you just never hear that stuff.
No, the sport of golf gotten much more popular. I honestly credit COVID lockdowns with increasing the popularity of the sport, and a lot of the content creators that have centered their channels and Instagrams and whatnot around golf and them playing and their golf personalities. And it's just an interesting time and space of the sport of golf. You see things like Live and the merger of the PGA. You see these Netflix documentaries full swing that I actually started watching, hanging out with Marcus a couple months back. And it's just a unique turn in a positive way, I think, that the sport has taken a unique direction.
No, I mean 100%. I think you've never seen as many like one young people, but also you see more than young people coming out now. You see like people in their late 20s, early 20s, like people that have really never been playing golf, like early 30s that watch good, or just any other sport. Bob Does Sports is like a big with like the 30 to like 45 crowd. Um, and like they're getting a lot of those people into golf as well. And it, you know, also, on another note for the Ryder Cup, they're at the Marco Simone Golf and Country Club, and I mean that's just pure track. I mean, an absolutely pure track. Um, and I mean, I can't wait.
So, in recent news, and I wouldn't even consider this entirely news, but certainly within the realm of pop culture, we've seen a lot of blockbuster movies out this summer with Oppenheimer and Barbie. And it makes you wonder, were the critics wrong about the insinuating that, movie attendance and the popularity of just attending the movies at the theater was dwindling in the last couple of years since COVID and even pre-COVID with the addition to streaming? That was, a lot of the synopsis that the Hollywood um, experts had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you covered all of it. I mean, a lot of it had to do with COVID, people not going out to the theaters. But I, the Oppenheimer and Barbie movies that you mentioned, I just feel like when you make a good movie, something original, or Barbie isn't something that have been totally overdone in the past few years. I feel like Hollywood just remakes the same movies, and nobody wants to see that. So when you come out with something sort of original, different, people will show out for that. People will go watch that.
Yeah,
I
I feel
agree.
like I've seen the same action movie over and over and over again, like 50,000 times.
Yeah, like
Well,
how
and
many
it's
Avengers are there?
Yeah, I know.
They're like
yeah.
the Marvel series is just terrible for it.
No, the Marvel series did. They produced a lot of movies, but a lot of those movies I enjoy. But to your point that both of you all are agreeing on, which I kind of agree with at large, is they do seem to be making the same movie over and over. And you wonder if that's begun to contribute to the writer's blocks and the writer's strikes we saw out of California at
Oh
Hollywood
yeah.
studios this past summer. And the irony is, you know, even though a lot of them were striking and, they didn't want to write for your late night talk show host or your, your sitcom on ABC, um, all the while they were not going to work. Well, Hollywood saw an influx in movie attendance with the Oppenheimer and with the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like remakes sometimes work. The Barbie movie remake worked.
Yeah, but I
But it
feel
just
like
had
that
to be
it's
done right.
not. Yeah, I was about to say, and
It wasn't a full remake.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, Margot Robbie's gonna pull fans. You know,
Right.
I mean, that's
Absolutely.
just
Absolutely.
it's not like that's a hot take or anything. It's like
No, that's a
you're gonna
it's
have
right on
more.
money.
You're gonna have more dads that are gonna go to the podcast, or I mean, not gonna go to the podcast. They're gonna go to the movie theater with their daughter or anything like that just to see Margot Robbie. Like, I mean, that's just a point blank fact.
I feel like I feel like remakes get done so often because one, people are lazy and writer's block, like you said. But money wise, it's easy to get a guarantee like, oh, the fans of this series, they're gonna tune into this, we're gonna remake it, and the people that love it, they're gonna just spend money and they're gonna go watch it. So you have like a guaranteed fan base opposed to doing an original idea. And I feel like it's all about money in the end. So they just take the easy buck rather than
per,
rather than just producing an original idea.
yeah,
It's
not a
just
lot
it's
of.
just all about money.
No, you're certainly correct there, and you know the sadness of that and that harsh reality is it's almost an indictment of the entire um, I guess viewing base, because we sit here and we're bitching about the Marvel movies on our pod, and I mean they crushed it. So we seem to be in the minority.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I was like always. I'm just gonna wait until it comes out on a streaming service or something like that. I mean, I've really lost my interest of going to the movies, being around all those people, paying for $15 popcorn,
See, there's something enjoyable to that. Like for me,
There is.
there's when you really catch a good, because to me a good movie is like a good album. It's a good sculpture. It's a good painting. Like there's like I don't know if you have all been this way, but sometimes I'll listen to some music and of course like I'll feel a way about it. It kind of invokes something in you. But sometimes there's movies where the character, the storyline, or even just the scenes themselves, the way they were shot, is so strong and
Yeah.
so compelling
Any
that
good
you
medium.
all, yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Especially whenever I was a kid, it would make me want to be them like so much more. Like if you watched a movie about like a knight or something and it was like
Yeah,
Yeah.
super
yeah.
compelling, like that was what you were after the movie. You were like playing as a knight and like you were like being a swordsman or whatever the fuck. And
No,
like
I would. No, you're right. You're
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
I would watch Spider Man and then go and spin like invisible webs on people and shoot them with webs. Like
Yeah, yeah, of course. Like
I thought I was Spider
You're
Man.
seeing Toby
I mean,
Maguire out here like
no, I
absolutely
a hundred.
balling.
I'm right there with y'all. The first time I saw Jurassic Park, I saw I saw that T Rex and those raptors, and I knew that I wanted to be a raptor.
I wanted to be
Just
a
wanted to be a
raptor.
raptor.
I mean, I think that really just goes for more like imagination. Like kids now, like really don't have that much of an imagination because they
Because
never
they're
were
the
able to.
iPad
Yeah, I
kids.
was about to say they were never like allowed to like go outside and well, it's not that they weren't allowed; they just didn't want to.
They don't
In
even
certain
Um,
care
states, they
about
weren't
sitting
allowed
down
to.
yeah,
and watching a movie for 2 hours. Like,
yeah,
they
that
don't have the time
I
for
was
that
about to
anymore
say they don't have the attention span
at
for
all.
watching a movie. I mean, you'll even look at it now like my wife's nephew, he can't sit like on his ass for like maybe 10 minutes without like just and like their diets are weird, like all they eat is fucking chicken nuggets. Like I was a picky kid, don't get me wrong, but I mean I eat more than that. Like I
With
actually
kids,
I mean there's like if they're not on the iPad, they're on the Xbox, they're on the game, and I'm not saying that I don't sit here and fucking game as much as I can, but it's like, I feel like I still go out. Like I went out today and was outside most of the day. Um, so I mean, I don't know. Whenever I was a kid, they stuck me outside and was like, ride your bike, do all this other shit, go around and play with the kids that live in the neighborhood, and I mean that's what you did all day.
yeah, the kids nowadays are not growing up in the same country that we did. In all honesty,
No, there's no like community at all. I feel like everyone is so like stuck in their house because of COVID. Everyone just doesn't interact. Like no one interacts with each other the same, and it really is sad to watch. Because I mean, I remember, I used to be able to run up to my buddy's door and not even have to knock. I would just open his door and walk into his house, you know. And I feel like that just doesn't happen anymore. Like you would almost get the police called on you if your kid did that.
Um, I'll tell you something that a lot of people aren't talking about on pods that we can dive into. Big food is your enemy.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean,
'cause
anything
everything's
that you
processed.
yeah, I was about to say
It's
anything
the
that you eat.
process. It's that process stuff that is what's doing it. I was talking with a buddy of mine today actually about this kind of stuff, and they were looking at um uh, like a lot of the illnesses that we see today and just certain health issues that have become common were non-existent pre-processed foods. And like if you think of like at a basic sense, like why is a food processed? To preserve its natural, like a natural decay that natural ingredients have for as long as it can be possible, which is a synthetic process. And we ingest that preservative, and there's no telling what that's doing to our natural hormones and organ functions. I mean, I'm not a
Yeah.
doctor, but I know
Just
that's
gut
not how that
health.
shit worked. Yeah, like gut
Yeah.
health. I like
Did they
why.
say your gut health, your gut is your second brain, and all of this processed food and all of this shit that we're feeding our body? No wonder, like people today struggle with anxiety and depression as high as they do, and all that whole uh, just ordeal as a whole,
Yeah,
as big as that is in our nation right now. It definitely has a lot to do with the stuff that we put in our bodies.
100%. And to your point about the second brain, there is the saying, listen to your gut. And when you look at, I imagine somebody that looks at the world through like the lens of, we're all interconnected. It's energy, this, energy, that. That's certainly a perspective. But if you can honor that idea, then it's certainly sensible to think that the shit foods we're consuming is really affecting our mental space. Like I've noticed, for instance, if I eat, real meat that was grass fed, no fried foods, some real veggies, and you can still do some mashed potatoes and carbs and breads in there. The mental clarity and like the satisfaction and almost like you're just like kind of content and actually full when you eat that way is incredibly different than um you could go to Burger King and get 4 cheeseburgers. You're not gonna be full.
Yeah.
It's in and out you.
Yeah, I mean, I've been starting to go to Walmart and or Kroger or wherever, and we buy a big chunk of meat, like a shoulder or something like that, because obviously me and you have talked about buying a whole cow. And
Marcus would be good to talk
and I
about
was
that
about to
with.
say Marcus's family actually does buy a whole cow, and he'll definitely. I want him to tell you guys, just I mean, like a little bit about like how much meat they get and stuff like that. But like, I buy a shoulder at Walmart, and it's $35. Or Costco is the best place to really buy it.
No
You
doubt,
go in
no
there and
doubt.
you get a big chunk of beef, and all you have to do is spend 10 minutes at the house cutting it up, and you've got steak for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and you just spent $35 on it instead of buying a shit brick of fucking 70% uh like lean meat and then the 30% fat. Like there's no telling what's in those tubes of meat that you buy. You know what I'm
No,
saying? I
not
mean,
at all.
yeah, there's no telling, man. I mean, it's all just floor scrap.
I don't really quite recall what my dad purchased. It was like a whole cut of a cow, and he went in on it with someone else. And I want to say they maybe spent about $500 each. That number could be off, but they had a whole supply of any cut of steak you needed, like ground beef. Um, and Will, didn't you go with me to pick that up?
Yeah, well, I went to where do we go? But I,
I
I
want to
rode
say it
with
was
you.
kind of. I want to say it was like out towards Paris,
I thought it
Kentucky.
was near Cynthiana, Kentucky, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, but we picked that up. And we had quite a bit of meat. Did we not cook one when we got back? I feel like we had to.
Yeah, we did. To dive into something that I think our listeners would really want to hear our perspective on. given our age, given our experience, let's talk about nicotine, tobacco,
Oh my gosh.
usage, big tobacco,
Wow.
how we like to consume it, all of it.
I think
Um,
it's running rampant.
Running rampant. I'll tell you, I've been using these Zens for the last, I guess, for like 4 or 5 months now, and I've been vapeless for
Yeah,
about to be 2 months, and I know a lot
it's
of
about where
people
I'm
our
sitting as
age.
well.
Yeah, I know a
Yeah.
lot of people our age struggle with the vapes.
Shout out to the Zens.
Yeah, which I don't use the Zen pouches. I use Rogue pouches. Shout out Rogues. I mean, I'm kind of like at a, I fight for my Rogues. I mean, I'm trying to tell you they're fire. But either way, as long as you're getting off of the vaping, I feel like that's what matters because
Well, it matters because it's we have no clue what the vaping repercussions and ramifications are going to be.
yeah, that's right.
Right.
No, you're 100% right. I mean,
And
we've
how
not.
many people do you know our age that do vape? Like
I
it's
s-
it's
I
it's
saw a
got to be close
statistic.
to like 8 and 10.
I
I'm
Yeah.
not
saw
even
a
joking.
statistic. That's how it feels. I agree, Marcus. That's how it feels. But the statistic I saw said it's only like 28%. And that's just
There's
not
no
true.
way.
It's not
I
true.
must hang around like every person that does that
I
then.
feel like that's the thing though, is like the people we hang around are people like, you know what I'm saying? It's like even if you don't think that, like, I mean, because like whenever you're in college, I mean, you are around people who are drinking and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just being
It's
Yeah,
around,
just
it's
the
the
environment for
it's
culture.
that
just the
stuff.
environment for that stuff, that's and it's the easiest, most readily available, most addicting drug on the market, in my opinion.
It
Nicotine
100% is.
nicotine like somehow became a foothold, um, with the legal drug market. I have no clue how it's legal, but I mean, I'm glad it's legal because I actually think if you do use nicotine the right way, it does have its benefits. Uh,
100% I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I like it. Like the Zen.
yeah,
I love the
exactly.
Zen.
Yeah,
I
The
abide
Zen
by
is
this.
definitely more.
You don't get the smoke effect from it.
Well, here's the thing about the Zens. So, like, I've actually like really dug into these because, like, I wanted to like, if I was gonna say that, like, I'm not vaping at least, then like I wanted it to mean something. And so with the Zen, you're getting nicotine salts, which are wrapped in a plant wrapped that's biodegradable, zero BPA, zero carcinogens, zero tobacco. Here's something that you don't know. People say nicotine this, nicotine that. It's addictive. Yes, it's addictive. But there is no compound in nicotine that is actually harmful to people, like just strict nicotine.
Yeah, no, I mean,
And so with this,
no.
none of like the tobacco bullshit or 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 you're not smoking anything, and it's
It's the
not like
burning of the carcinogens that give you the cancer, you know? I
yes,
mean, it's a funny
yes.
thing. Even before Zins came out, um, I
But this isn't like a
remember.
chewing tobacco
No,
either.
I know, but people also say, in chewing tobacco, if you looked at it, people with mouth cancer from chewing tobacco were like 10% or to maybe to 15%, but the people who had mouth cancer from smoking were the other 95% or 90%. Like
Right.
it just like the
85,
smoke,
90.
yeah, the smoke
Yeah,
gets in their mouth. It like it's not the tobacco even itself, it's the burning of the tobacco, it's the burning of the paper and cuz obviously you guys know, I mean, smoking a cigarette, it's dipped in
yeah,
ink and all types of shit, and the cigarette paper is dipped in ink, and
There's hundreds of chemicals.
yeah, hundreds of chemicals. I mean, there's like, I don't even know. I mean, over like 3,300 carcinogens in one cigarette. I mean, when you're smoking it. I mean, and there has been tests that vaporizing something, whenever it is vaporized, there is I don't know if there is any carcinogens, because the vapor is not technically a burnt, it's vapor, not, because you know what I'm saying? Like, whenever you're burning something with fire, that makes it a carcinogen. Um, Whenever you're vaporizing something, I feel like it's making the smoke isn't even smoke. You can tell because vapor is thicker than cigarette smoke.
And here's another one for you. And it's something I wanted to kind of pivot from. Well, same topic, but I think our listeners would find it interesting. Um, and the reason I want to say this is because I feel like so many of them will have similar stories. How did you all start nicotine? Because I'll let you all go first, but I feel like
Marcus,
my story is like so many people's.
Yeah, back in high school, I want to say freshman, sophomore year, just one of my friends had one. It was one of those big box mods, friend on the football team, and I would just hit it. People were blowing big clouds. It was when nicotine wasn't really the total focus of it. It was more about the clouds, at least the way I remember it. And I remember Jewel coming out, Jewel coming out, and that shit. You made me laugh, Palmer.
It's
Shit,
a
shit was about the clouds though, bro.
it's a
Shit
game
was about the
changer.
clouds.
It
And
was a
then
game
The
changer.
Jewel was a complete game changer on everything because it
yeah,
was just delivering something we had never felt.
the Jewel gave you 50
100%.
milligrams every hit.
Yeah, like I remember the first time I hit one of those, I coughed my ass off. And now you can just sit there and hit it like it's nothing, which is a terrible thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
even feel how
For me,
potent that is.
my experience is honestly very similar. Uh, it would have been like junior year of high school. Everyone I knew had the box mods, and like you said, it was about having a nice, elaborate box mod that could really chuck clouds. So I had like this Tesla box mod that was 3D printed with speckle paint because like the speckle paint was been in like slime green because the like YSL, like the rap group, Free Thugger. Um, and I remember one of our buddies had went on a college visit, and all the frat dudes were like, "Man, y'all are stupid. Like y'all are whatever. You guys got the box mods still. Like you're high school. Ha. We got this Joel." And he let him riff it, and he told us about it, and he said it was so good. He went to the gas station, got one. I ended up getting one. They were like $50 back then. Now I think you could get them at like a marathon for like 10
Right.
bucks,
And
10
Mon
Yeah.
bucks.
and but yeah, the first time I was ever introduced to nicotine was whenever I was in seventh grade. I was working on a farm with one of my friends, and he had some. I remember it was Grizzly Straight, fine cut, I think. Um, and so fine cut is the dip in tobacco that's obviously fine cut. It's not long cut, so it like gets everywhere in your mouth. And we were riding a four wheeler, and it was the first time me and him had both tried it. We had made a decision. We got it from one of our other friends that was a lot older than us, um, and we decided that we were going to camp out and we were going to make a fire and try this, go fishing, do like another a few things. So we ride the four wheeler to the pond and we hop the fence and then we are fishing and we pull the can out and we're looking at it and we open it up, we start smelling it, we're like, oh yeah, oh, we think we're men, we're like, that's the fucking good shit, that's that shit. Like we see, for me honestly, I was like, this smells like shit, like it smells
Yeah,
awful, like
but you gotta act
but
hard.
yeah, but you get because I love dipping tobacco, but not straight. Straight tastes like, honestly, it tastes like socks and salt. Um, like
Socks and salt.
yeah, it tastes like how your socks smell with
That's how I
salt on
think
top of
Dr.
it.
Pepper tastes. If you drink Dr.
What?
Pepper,
That's
you're
a hot
gross.
take. I mean, Dr. Pepper is the
No, I
first.
think soda's gross,
Dr.
bro.
Pepper was the first soda to ever be invented in the United States. Like oldest. Like they're the best. I mean, I can't. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I can say that on the.
You don't know if you can go for that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can go for that take. Like,
Like on the pod, you can't let that just
yeah, I
slide.
can't just let that slide on the pod. Like me and my mom are like literally, we're Dr. Pepper like enthusiasts. She's probably got stock in Dr. Pepper. But anyways, we were at the pond fishing, and he puts in a dip, and then I do, and I don't really think we know what to do. I'm spitting out the spit, and he starts spitting it out, and we're just sitting there fishing, and then he starts I can see his back start arching up and then arching. You know how like whenever you're catching, like you're catching yourself from throwing up, you like start to arch, you know?
Yeah.
And I could see him doing that, and I had not been throwing up for very long, so I really didn't understand what was going on, and then he just yaks everywhere. I mean, absolutely pukes all in the pond, and then lays down, and like I don't know what to do. So I'm like, he's like, you gotta go back to the thing, get me some water. So I get back, I hop the fence, and then I like somehow I didn't even really know how to drive a four wheeler. So I think I rode it all the way down there in first gear, which took me forever. So I rode it,
Yeah. You
rode it all
just
the way down
stalled
there.
it.
Yeah, rode it all the way down there in first gear, rode
Just
it all the
grinding
way back
gears.
up, grinding gears like a motherfucker, get him some water. We eventually, I like have to damn near like put him on my back like a fucking army man and carry him to the fence, and then I'm throwing him over the fence, and we're back to the thing. And he's literally sick for almost the whole rest of the night. And then in the morning, like I was like, we're gonna get caught. Like, there's no way that we're not getting caught. And we eventually go back to where we were looking at the can, and like he put in one of the biggest hogs that I've ever seen in my life, and damn near swallowed all of it. And then you just saw it, like where it was, like where he threw up. It was like right near the pond, and then a few of it got into the pond, and then you could see like it had just balled up in his stomach after he was done swallowing it all, basically. And he just yacked like once he got done swallowing it all. Like, I mean, just an idiot.
I mean, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, like just an idiot.
Well, now time for one of my favorite segments of the show. A chance for us, the hosts, to get to hear from you all. And so I'm going to check the mailbag because we've been getting a couple questions in from the fans of the show recently. This one's from,
The
hopefully I don't
mailbag.
butcher this.
The mailbag. It sound like fucking Blues Clues' owner.
We just got a letter.
Hickory.
I wonder who it's from.
This one's from Hickory underscore Denise 67, and she wants to know. I'm assuming she.
We're
You
not
guys
assuming
talk a lot
anybody's
about golf.
pronouns.
You guys talk a lot about golf. Did any of you play growing up or for your schools?
My dad's got more golf than Edwin Watt. My dad's got more golf clubs than Edwin Watts.
I'll go ahead and give you a quick one for me. No, Denise, I did not. No golf
No,
experience.
I don't have much experience either, Denise. Although I'd like to play a lot better than I have been, but I've picked up the game recently, and I mean, we got some golfers in my family. My granddad played D1 golf at University of South Florida, so shout out to them. Shout out to the class of '67, I believe. Bill
Shout out
Dykeman.
that boy
Oh,
B.
yeah, shout out to Bill. Uh, just Bill.
Shout out that boy.
Um, but as I understand it, Paul, you played a little bit of golf in your day.
Yeah, my dad has played golf his whole life. Um, he has an obsession with buying golf clubs. He buys probably a set or two of irons every month, and then he buys a new putter and um, any type of degreed wedge, 50, 60s. He had one that was crazy. It was degreed in like a 57 degree one time. And then, he has lots of different putters. He likes to buy funky putters or just different types of stuff. Really anything he can get much of a deal on. And he likes to stock up on really anything. He was the maintenance guy at a few of the places in Lexington. He helped put the bunkers in. If you've ever played in Greenbrier, if you guys ever go out to Greenbrier in Lexington, KY. You guys probably wouldn't be able to get on, but if you guys are listening to this and know anybody that's a member out there and you're able to get on, it's one of the nicest courses in Lexington. And my dad put the bunkers in those bunkers, so when you're hitting a bunker shot, say thank you to my boy. Um, and then also, I grew up. He also worked on the golf course that was in town as well. Whenever I was
Yeah.
growing up, and we're members there as of now, where we live at. So yeah, I mean, and we play. We just played today. We play all the time. Um, I play. I try to play 2 to 3 times a week. I have a newborn, so I don't get to
Yeah.
play as much now, but you know, I
When you got a chance, he's out there swinging
yeah,
the
when I
clubs.
got a chance, I'm always out there swinging it.
Well, thanks
Follow.
for the question, Denise. We appreciate those questions. Now let's dive into another one, fellas. This one's from Daniel. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, Daniel. Daniel Kerwinski, I believe. Daniel wants to know, given the current situation with inflation and the recent attacks you've seen on cryptocurrencies, like not Sam Burns,
And
as
Bankman Freed.
Sam Bankman Fried, um, as well as um, the death of the Cash App owner that was stabbed. This kind of came out of left field there, Daniel. You're a thinker, aren't you, buddy? You're a thinker. I like that. I guess I'll let one of the boys take a stab at this because I don't really know where to begin with.
Sell your crypto.
Okay,
I mean
Paul. Let's.
that's what they would like us to do for sure. I mean they definitely want I mean any regulation that the government can get they're gonna go for that
They're gonna
opportunity.
impose on us. I'm right
And
there with you. And
in crypto they know they can't. That's
Hey,
the whole
hey,
purpose of
but
crypto. It's
listen.
decentralized
There's
and
more than one way to skin a cat. You know, there's more than one
what
way to.
are you talking about decentralized currency?
No, no, because decentralized currency, decentralized currency is a good thing, but not whenever it makes money still a figment of imagination. You got to hold something.
Yeah,
The,
nothing truly backing
No,
it.
yeah, no, there's nothing truly back in digital currency. That's why you saw all these NFTs crash. That's why you see all these crypto coins crash, is because, yes, you're putting money back into it, but you have nothing of value. When you have a cash, it used to be, not anymore, but when you used to be, the dollar that you had in your hand was worth its weight in gold and silver. And if you had $100, it was worth its weight in gold and silver because we had it at the Federal
well,
Reserves.
yeah, it was
You know, it we
the economy was a gold standard, and we switched to what's called a fiat currency.
yeah, and that's idiotic. Because whatever the fiat currency is it just lets you print figment
Yeah,
amounts of money that you don't have, and that's why we're trillions of dollars in debt because we're able to just pull money out of our ass and pull money out of the air. And there's no reason for that when we've got as much oil as we do in this country. Uh, when we've got people in America that want to work, that will take over all these stupid ass jobs. Like, if you're a company that doesn't want to pay somebody above 725, I mean, 725 as it is fucking ridiculous. I mean, when they say 725 went up from what? Fucking getting fisted in your fucking ass? I mean, there's no way that, I mean, there's no,
yeah, no. I mean, you
there's,
know what else went up?
you
My
know,
eggs,
yeah,
a pack of
exactly.
turkey, my gas, uh, the taxes in my area, the cost of healthcare, the cost of my insurance, the cost of my phone plan, the cost of internet, the cost of my streaming, the cost of my phone that I use.
Yeah.
It's all
I mean,
gone up.
hell, we
Your
just got
energy
done
bills have
paying
gone
back
up.
Obama's debt.
Yep. But that's another discussion for another time. I'm gonna take a look at one last question, but we got limited time on the show, and I want to jump into one last question from the mailbag. This is Stacy K underscore 42. She's got a fun question, something lighthearted to end the pod off on. Stacy wants to know if money was no issue, and it is for so many people these days. She didn't say that. I added that because it's the truth.
Sure.
Where would you all go on a vacation?
What was the
You
question?
know, if money was no issue, where would you go on vacation? Just anywhere you could pick. I was kind of thinking about my answer for a little bit. I feel like it wouldn't just be one spot. If money's no issue, I want to go maybe on a month long
Okay, I like
vacation.
it.
Just go to a bunch of different spots.
I think even more than a month, to be honest with you.
I mean, if money really is no issue,
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want.
if money's no
Yeah.
issue. I mean, I'm probably gonna take a tour,
Well,
through.
I think she's like money's no issue. Like meaning like you could go on one trip, you still got to work a job type of thing.
Well,
But
okay. I mean, I would if money was no issue. I
practical.
would do. I
Right.
would do.
Yeah,
Like so what? Like 2 weeks. You could save up enough off
a
time for
month.
two
A
weeks.
month.
You could do month.
Let's say you get a month, yeah, and you've
Yeah,
really
you
saved
could
up or
save
you've
up
hit it
two. You could
big.
save up 2 weeks, and then you could say that
You
your
you know
mom's
you
got.
know
You could say
you
your
know
mom's in
how
the hospital, and then so you're out for
couples
another 2 weeks
you
or
know how
something like
couples
that.
when
You know.
the older they get, like when they retire, they typically go on that little month long vacation, almost like a honeymoon thing, like couples will do
Or they
at
just go
when they
down to Florida for the winter.
well they'll do that, but when they retire, like a lot of times they'll like tour the world like on a boat for a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
So we could just kind of premise it off that. I'll take a stab at this one because I've thought about this before. I would want to visit Ireland and Scotland probably for 1 week out of the month, just because like that's where most of like my ancestry.com shit's coming from, and so I got to peep it. It's the homeland, I guess. I mean, however you want to take it. Um, then I'm definitely got to go peep Rome. I got to go see the Vatican. I got to go see like Western traditional society for what it is. I mean, some of my favorite artists and thinkers come from that time and era and contributed to, I mean, everything we've got going on now over here. So that'd be a big one. I for sure got to check out Jerusalem, Israel, see the Holy Land, and just really soak that in. I've always wanted to get baptized in the Jordan River. Interesting fact about that. Um, Colonel Sanders that made KFC actually got baptized in that same river that Jesus was baptized in over there when he was 79 years old. Like, just felt compelled to do it after making KFC and everything he'd done. I think that's pretty cool.
What a
And
G.
then, yeah, he's a G. And then the last one I would pick, I gotta see Japan, man. I feel
Hmm.
like the Awasabi, like architecture and just their vibe of minimalism and just practical usage and utility, like back that I was talking about on the first pod, like I'm really like that's just an idea that I chase and then I'm like really like immersed in and like love conceptualizing in my own head, like the idea of maximizing your output and productivity with the bare minimum, like everything you have serving multiple purposes. Because I think as humans, we have the ability to think big picture that way, and it's just a matter of doing it to scale and making it efficiently. And I think we'll get there eventually. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
my answer. Stacy K underscore 42. Good question.
Yeah.
Let's hear from the fellas.
No, I mean, I think that's definitely true. I mean, you hit my first trip as your last one. I mean, you guys know I've got the Japanese tattooed on me, so it'll be with me forever. I think that the Japanese culture. I'm a big anime fan, as Will knows. I mean,
Yeah.
I've just I love the Japanese culture because I think they are just I know. Listen. I know that they did, um, stuff with us in World War II and stuff like that, and I get that. But I think, still, like, even before that, they're just an honorable people. They're really smart people. Um, I think they do tend to be on the side of whoever is winning at the time, though it seems. So they are just a little bit flaky. But I mean, their
But you'd
architecture.
still want to check it out.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I mean, I think like that's just getting way too off topic. Like the architecture in Japan is why I would go. I think just like being able to go over there and see and just spend a week or two and see how they live over there would just like absolutely be super crazy. And then for the other 2 weeks, probably do um like a Turkey trip. I've always wanted to go to
okay.
Turkey. Um, I really think either Turkey or actually now that I'm thinking about it, go to Finland because that's where a lot um, either the Finland like go to Finland for a week because that's where my ancestry is from, and then the Isle of Man and England because that's where I'm from as well as Scotland and Ireland. But I mean Scotland. There's so many places though. I just don't think I could really go somewhere in just a month um, if money was no issue. Because if I was working at a job like that, you know.
Yeah.
But what about
No, I
you,
mean, it's a
Marcus?
hard.
Oh, what was it, Will? You're good.
I was just saying it's a hard question to kind of grapple around given the time. But, I've always looked at it. If you don't pick a destination, you might not end up anywhere. So,
That's
Wesso,
that's definitely true. I
let's hear
mean,
from
I
you.
loved going to Spain. Spain was so awesome. I think you guys should travel. Where would you go, Wes?
If we're going month long, I'd probably like to go see a lot of where the history of the Bible took place, all over Israel, Egypt.
Nice.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
you said Jordan, right, Will?
Yeah, the river at Jordan.
Yeah, go to Jordan. That would be cool. And while you're in that area, you might as well go Greece and then maybe up into Europe a little bit.
For sure.
Um, never been to Europe, so I feel like that'd be pretty cool. It's a lot in a month, but
Yeah, it would be a lot in a month, but I mean, I think that would be the most.
dream vacation.
Yeah, I think what you're describing would be the most fulfilling vacation, to be honest with you.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think it'd be the most fulfilling vacation out of all of ours. Um, that's actually a really good take, to be honest with you. I like that.
No, that is nice take, Lesso, and great question, Stacy K. Appreciate the mailbag. Always, we appreciate the supporters, and we appreciate Kentucky Lawn Rescue. One more time, we appreciate the sponsorship, all the love we get from them, and we look forward to having them stay with us throughout all our
Our,
episodes in the
yeah,
future.
exactly. Our
And
main career here.
what I like about the mailbag is I was just thinking about it before we wrap this thing up. It gives our listeners a chance to get to know maybe a bit more about us, and I think that helps our listeners and the people that engage us and support us
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
learn more about us and maybe how our perspectives shape some of the views we have on the show, and it kind of and that feedback shapes our own perspectives because we get to see how they feel about things and what's going on in their respective worlds.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it gives them an insight into how we think, like you were saying, and then it also gives an insight, like on the second question, it come right out of left field that he was really. It seems like that guy
Yeah,
knew.
Daniel.
Yeah, it seems like that guy knew what he was talking about. Talking about inflation and stuff like that. So I mean, I can't wait to hear from you guys again.
No, we've appreciated it. And, Palmer, you want to wrap this thing up for everybody?
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, guys. Thank you for coming and listening to the OUT-BUR podcast. We really do appreciate you guys coming and listening. I know it's taken a while for us to get out and actually do this podcast, but we're going to try to put together different videos each week. This is going to be our third part. So this will be our third part. Um, if you are here and you stuck around and listened to all three parts, thank you so much. Give us a like and follow, and like I said, and like Will said, comment down below for the mailbox. Give us a follow on our social medias that'll be down below. And as always, this has been the OUT-BUR podcast, guys. If you want to say goodbye, see you guys.
That's it.
Adios.